Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, it's time to put some insulation around these windows. We're in the room here, so it's kind of an update on that, but this one's specifically going to be supposedly put in by a professional that have been replaced. We've always had kind of a little bit of moisture problem with it too, and it's kind of cold. It's not a great window. It was a very cheap window, I think. Anyway, when they went to put the moldings in around the edges here, they like caulked in here, then or glued, I don't know, and then put this up and nailed it in, and then caulked the crap out of it, doing a really bad job of caulking, and it's just a messy, nasty job of caulking. Anyway, trying to get that off, I ended up busting this because they basically glued it in here. So don't do that. When you're putting the moldings up, you want to make it so you can get them back off again without breaking them if you need to replace a window or if you have a problem. Anyhow, in the midst of trying to take that off, my little pry bar I had went through this window right here, and as you can see, inside there is nothing but cold air getting in. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this out. I don't know, you can try it if you decide you want to try this and you're having coldness in your windows, but I'm going to drill this out the rest way, and I'm going to shoot some spray foam in here as well. I think this must, I don't know, they got really close in this window. There's just no room to put any kind of insulation in here. I'm going to have to pull this side off. Hopefully I can get this one off a little better so I don't have to buy all new moldings for around this window. But and I'm gonna drill this and probably have to do something up at the top as well. So maybe that'll give me a little bit better insulation value, because there's definitely nothing in there. So if you get these cheap windows, this may be an option for you to get a little bit more insulation out of it. Alright, well, what I wound up doing is drilling a hole about, I don't know, every 8 or so inches. I don't even know if I would have had to go quite that far. I think I could have made them even further apart. But I started out trying to start in that bottom hole where it was already broke and see if I could make it come up to here. And it did work, but I found actually, as I went along, I actually started going from the top down. So as I push this one in, you'd start coming out of this one, and then you know, I'd shove it in there and put in and shoot some in there and start coming out of this one, that kind of thing there. So that seemed to work a little bit easier. Went along the top, just kind of shot it that way and shot it that way until it came out these holes here. So I don't know honestly if this is gonna, kind of made a mess of things. Definitely gonna have to get something and clean this up. And I did get a little bit down in here, and I'm hoping I didn't screw that up. And I did notice also it came out of a couple holes here and here. So, and I did check, there didn't seem to be any holes down here after I noticed that. So hopefully I didn't mess up anything. We'll see. We'll do a little test when I'm all cleaned up and back in order here, and we'll see if it works. Not really cleaned up, but I popped these pieces off, and all I did was just grab a hold of them and peel it off. Right now this is just an experiment more than anything, so like I said, if you want to try this, that's up to you. I will probably do a video later on and see if I see any difference. Razor blade action, and we're all good, and the window opens and closes just fine. There's one-handed closing right there. Now here's the thing on that. I used great stuff, but the window and door, and what it says on here, and you may want to heed, is that it expands but it doesn't totally harden up. It allows expansion and contraction in the joints, so therefore it stays a little bit soft. So therefore your windows and doors and things keep opening and closing according to the can. Now here's the other one. Yet again, I'm not responsible if you guys decide to try this out and you have an issue with your windows. This is just something I'm trying out. I'm no professional window person whatsoever. I'm just hoping it helps out a little bit in this room. I lost some footage here, but I'll go through and kind of tell you. I talked about taking the insulation that was around these windows out, and I went ahead and did that and put the spray foam in. I have some footage on the spray foam I did for this window, that's all there, but for some reason I didn't get a lot of these, and there wasn't a whole lot to it. Basically, I actually ended up pulling the moldings all the way around out, started pulling the insulation out, and as I got towards the top, the whole window actually popped out. It was just kind of sitting in there with the insulation. So what I did is actually used a piece of the insulation on the bottom and put it on the bottom and sat the window down, put the window in, put a screw up in there so it was nice and tight at the top and nice and level in there, and spray foamed all the way around it. Simple as that. And although I got some moisture here and it's a little bit cold here, it's way better than it was. There's a little bit of moisture here, but most of this moisture is actually on the outside. Before, we had moisture on the inside all the way around. Frost would be down here on the bottoms really bad, and I don't even have the heat on right now because we've been keeping the heat off in this room. There's no reason to heat a room that's not being used, so there was lots of moisture on these windows. There might be some of that in the video. Hopefully I have some of that. But anyhow, that's really helped these windows, although I am going to replace them this summer. And with this one, it's all put back together here, and it's way better than it was. When you touch the glass even, you can tell a difference that it's not near as cold as it was when you used to touch glass. I don't know why they leave that air pocket in there, if that was a mistake from the factory or if that's just how these vinyl windows are made, but it really made a pretty big difference here. There would be frost across the top of the window here quite badly, and even across the bottom down there. That actually disappeared this morning, so I do believe that putting that insulation in there has made a pretty big difference. Plus, I'm not totally freezing cold in this room, and we've been keeping the doors closed and this room heat off. So I do believe that this has helped quite a bit. All right, this is Sam, Jack of all, master of none. You all have a good one.